gonna get no dance out of it. Nothing ain't gonna come out of it. Tell you that much. Nothing ain't coming out of it. Certain make sense. Don't make a drop of sense saying, oh, wait. If they say, yo, music master for Clash tomorrow, yeah, you're not gonna see him say nothing. Exactly.
Pure vibes.
Watch them, pure vibes, watch them, pure vibes, watch them.
Boom, Sir Alan Brander here. You don't know, representing War Report, you understand me? In conversation today with one of the young sound them we're going with things right now, you understand? So we're definitely gonna, you know what I mean, get an insight to this sound called Pure Vibes. Understand? With Inchi and Davda. Blessing gents.
Yo, big up, brother. Oh, God.
Manners, man. You get me?
This is long overdue, you know.
Definitely long overdue.
Long overdue.
You don't know, nothing never happened before the time.
Well, this is it.
You understand me? But you know, this is the right time.
Exactly. So.
You know, the vibe is right. You know what I mean? You've been doing things as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a man, we're always, a surface and been interested in the sound clash thing for like a while now.
100%.
You know, slash the juggling thing as well. But, we just want to give the people a nice insight to Pure Vibes right now. You understand? Because, more time people see the sound, see certain things, but they don't really know certain in-depth vibe to a sound sometimes. So today, we just said, we're going to get an in-depth kind of natural vibe with Pure Vibes. You know what I mean? So I want to know where the whole Pure Vibes thing come around.
Boy, we started about 2005,
Okay.
Big up Shorty Bless, started with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started with the house parties, raves. Then we brought up to 2009 where Trix joined. Trix was doing a little funky thing. The sound was there. I was juggling all this time.
By yourself?
Yeah. No, I'm juggling. And then Trix was micing.
And he was on the mic, yeah.
And he was micing. And then me and him parted for a bit. And then from about 2014 to now, about 2019, I've been doing it. And then we got the young General Davda, who's joined the team. So even for me now, when Davda joined, I decided at that point that I need to start picking up the microphone.
Okay.
So I've only been picking up the microphone for about 18 months, innit?
Okay.
Not even that. 18.
Okay.
So even then,
So you're feeling new to that then?
100%. So constantly learning on the job. But I've been able to say, you know what, I can leave the DJ to Davda because like little more later on you're gonna understand why I can leave it to Davda.
So in 2005, what was the vibe like when you just joined the game?
I think that the idea was always to say like we want to get to the Bass Odyssey, Stone Love heights. That's always been the dream and the vision.
So as you mentioned, Bass Odyssey, Stone Love, those were your inspirations?
Yeah, Kilimanjaro, listening to them, Addis is another bad sound. Obviously, recently Soul Supreme we listened to as well. Like that's always been a dream. I think from the UK, there's no one that is consistently being at that level that them man have been. So why can't we try go for that? Do you know what I mean? So that's always been the vision from then when we started to now, and even now, like I feel like it's slowly getting closer and closer to that.
So when you kind of entered the game, was it a thing of where you wanted to juggle or clash or do the both?
You know what it is? Initially, it was always like I was happy to DJ, but I never really found a mic man that could present the sound the way I wanted it to be.
See.
So when Davda came along, I thought, right, this is my time to kind of step up. Like, I'm generally a humble, shy person. But now, man, I have to step out a character, yeah?
Yeah, but come out of the shell.
So like the last 2 years have been a mad growing like curve for me as a person. Like, I've had to grow and say, like I've had to leave. Even from when I DJ, I kind of want to touch the decks because I'm used to that.
Yeah.
And I have to leave that to Davda because that's his lane now.
That's his lane now, yeah.
You get me? So even me stepping away from that, like that is kind of being uncomfortable. I can't lie, it's been hella uncomfortable. But to be fair, I've got that much trust in him now.
Yeah.
That like if I said to Davda level, and all the levels.
You're gonna get the level, yeah.
You get me? But I said that the shoot.
You have to have, you know, when you're working with a shooter, you and the shooter have to be in sync, you know.
100%.
You understand? Because when you say level, as what you said, you want to make sure it's level.
100%.
If you say dab dab, boom, dab dab, anything what you tell your shooter is supposed to make sure is in sync with what you're dealing with.
And it's mad because like Dav is like only 21, you know.
Wow.
And we don't even get to.
Wow, we didn't reach this yet.
Yeah, we don't even
We'll
get to
there. We'll get to
you get me? But like for somebody that's 21 and picked up even just the clash juggling.
Yeah.
Like we've had a couple of even we'll talk about it in a bit, but even when we're practicing and we say, yo, Dav the level, and he sets his cue points. The way like he's a perfectionist in this as well. So the way he wants things to sound and how we want it to connect, it's like it doesn't take much for us to connect because we're jugglers already.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
That's impressive though.
We both kind of got the same mind because we're both jugglers. I think we think the same.
Yeah.
So it's easier. So like he'll get what I'm doing. So I don't have to even explain it. Like he'll get what I'm doing.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, more back to the early part, like 2005. What was the competition levels like? You know, who were the sounds locking it at the time in the UK or in your surrounding?
Well, you had yourself. You was obviously somebody that was DJing and active. You had Quincy. You had the Invasion Crew. You had Live Link. You had Pick a Mix, if you remember them. Who else? Cold as Ice.
Yes.
So there's a lot of sounds that some of them are still here. Some of them obviously, as times moved, they've gone and done their own thing. And you know what I mean? We've just kind of been consistently growing and on an upward curve. Do you know what I mean? So it's a thing whereby now that we had to make our links, do lots of mix CDs, which we haven't stopped, but then kind of keep doing that to get more fans and build your fan base to a point where we're at now. Where we're still getting new fans.
Yeah. Did your vibe break when you and Trick stopped playing music together?
It was tough because I had to do a whole rebranding exercise.
That's what I'm saying.
Because then it's just Pure Vibes as a brand. So I've never focused it as about me. It's always been Pure Vibes.
Which is good.
So I learned from the likes of Stone Love, Bass Choice, I go back to Kingpin, in Addis. Like, it's always been the brand first. It doesn't matter who's playing the sound, it's always the brand first. And that's always the key, like when you're delivering a brand to the masses, it's always about Pure Vibes first. It doesn't matter whether it's Inchy there, or it doesn't matter whether it's Dabda there, it's always Pure Vibes.
But the politics within us should be within us.
100%.
Like the people should just see Pure Vibes still professional, that they've always been, and should be a journey.
100%.
What was the reception like from like other sounds that were popular at the time? How was you received by them? Did you get strength? Did you get fight out? I mean, how was it? You know, because when you're young and trying to make that name is like it's never going to be easy.
100%.
I mean, how was it for you? Like, getting the strength from the sounds and just getting brought into a dance and stuff like that. How did you find?
Like even now, we're still excited about it. But one thing that's kept us going is perseverance. Like people are saying, "Yo, them man are not good enough. They're only good for warm-ups. They're only good for warm-ups or finishing a dance." And the problem is because we're generally good at delivering any type of set, we're kind of put in a box where we just put them anywhere in a dance, and we're not necessarily always put where we want to be placed.
Yeah.
Until we host our own dances.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming? So there's always been that fight. Sometimes it's like when you're good at a number of genres, you're always gonna have a problem because you're not gonna necessarily be playing what you want to play. It's always about where the promoter can fit you in. So we've had to kind of go, like last couple of years, we've had to say, yeah, what, this is us. This is the direction we're going. If you don't walk out, that's cool, but that's what we're going to be representing.
See.
And the dancehall and reggae steer has kind of been our direction, and that's helped us really still like recently.
So reggae and dancehall is predominantly your
Vibes, yeah.
your preferred genre.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, we have the 1 and 2 don't play it in other genres, as you know. You know how to sing it.
You have to be versatile. You have to shampoos with some look. You see me? You have go across the board with
100%.
just in case. You have to have some just in case dubs.
Yeah, but our preference is always going to be to play reggae and dancehall because that's what got us or inspired us.
And that's funny, because you know what? In the earlies, I thought that Pure Vibes was an R&B sound.
See it there?
You know what I mean? Like I always thought in the early part, you know what I mean, that Pure Vibes was like a predominantly R&B, like kind of crossover sound, like a Gal Flex and like a you know, like an invasion, you
Yeah.
know, like a crossover vibe. I didn't really think that the reggae and dancehall was your preference at the time.
Yeah.
It's just that in recent time now, you know, I realized, say, yo, what Pure Vibes is that man when we love the dub thing, them and thing, and it's in me. Cause enough time when, like, you know, when you
Yeah.
hear something and you say, yo, Brando, yo, that mad in our rear, and I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. But we've had to go through that whole process of rebranding
Yeah.
how we want the sound to be perceived. And like during this time, COVID has allowed us to kind of work on the perception of what people think Pure Vibes is about. Don't get me wrong, you know, we love our reggae, we love our slow jams, we love our house party, we love our souls. Like we still will do that for the people.
Of course, yeah,
but
naturally. Yeah.
always it comes from the essence of reggae and dancehall.
When did the dub plate part come into to play? When did you start deciding that you wanted to play dub plates? Or wanted to voice dub plates?
That in the early part of 2010, like, because obviously the vision's always been like we want to get there. It was always like, alright, let me start voicing some dub plates. So I was getting 1 and 2 free, but then like in the recent years, like me and Dab just sat down and we said, you know what, we need to start looking at the identity of Pure Vibes. Like every time they hear us, they need to hear at least a 1, 2 dub plates if it fits in the settings. Because obviously certain settings you can't play too many hardcore dub plates. Yes, you can play dub plates with like juggling dub plates. So just for people that are just checked in, juggling dub plates and hardcore dub plates are different.
Yeah.
Juggling ones are normally ones that you'll hear in any type of rave.
True.
But it has our name in it. And that gives your sound identity. So it was more about saying, all right, here as Pure Vibes, we want to have the identity. When they hear us, they're going to at least hear 1 and 3 dub plates. You're not going to hear maybe hardcore, depending on the dance, but you're going to hear 1 and 3.
So did you get more serious on the dub thing as when Dabda stepped in, or was you dealing with the dub thing before Dabda folded in?
So the dub thing has always been there, but when Dabda's stepped in, I was like, yo, man, I have to step up. I have to start cut some tune because I felt like now I have Dabda there, the vision that I've always seen Pure Vibes can now be realised. And that was the thing. At that point, because I wasn't confident in the mic man, I had no disrespect to him at all, but his vision and our vision sometimes clash.
Sometimes it just doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
sync.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it was just like we got to a point now where Dabda understands the culture, he understands where we're trying to go, and he's in for it. Like Dabda just wants to play music.
Yeah. So converting from like a selector, 'cause remember you've always been the selector. Converting from a selector to a MC. I mean, that can't be an easy conversion. I mean, I know at the time you must have been thinking, boy, how am I gonna sound? How am I gonna come across the people? I mean, who was you listening to? And what was your thoughts about now becoming an MC for the sound? You know, being a selector from the beginning.
Right. It's just like the one thing I always appreciate with MCs or the right MCs hosting when I was a DJ is letting the music breathe.
Yeah.
So you can't be talking over the song every kind of 4-8 bars. And one thing I do allow Davda to do is I try to give him as much room for creativity as a DJ, because I know how important that was when I was DJ. So that's one thing I do. And then secondly, obviously you have to find things to say when you're a mic man, and then coming out of your show. So I'm finding myself having to be constantly thinking of things to say, like, and also making sure that when I say something, it hits home as well.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and also putting across my personality as a person. Guys, no point me trying to be like a Brando when I'm not Brando. That's not my personality.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure my personality is delivered clearly and articulately to the people that are listening, so that when they hear Pure Vibes or they hear Inchy on the microphone, they say, yo, that is Inchy, because take the microphone away from him, that's still Inchy.
So was you taking any tips from anybody like?
Well, I would, if I'm honest, I would listen to a lot of experienced mic men and pick up styles from them. Like yourself, I listen to Jakes from Soul Supreme, I listen to Fire Links. So some of the baddest in the game, Prince, Ecstasy, I listen to a number, even Invasion. Sometimes it's like you listen to see people and think, right, I could take a bit from that and make it into my own style.
So basically, you listen to various different styles, but
100%.
But then compact your own,
100%.
your own Pure Vibe style, which is good still.
you
Because
have
at the end of the day, we all have to listen to somebody. We all have inspirations in it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So at the end of the day, like you hear certain bits and pieces and say, okay, yeah, I can, push it this or fold it this or, and then compact it into your style.
100%, and that's what it's all about. Because everybody needs a mentor. Like when you're stepping into this, you always need a mentor. Somebody you think, all right, I want to kind of be like him, but be me as well. So it's just trying to separate, take bits from them, take bits from my next man, and say, yo, how can I make that into the Pure Vibes Inchy package?
And since you stepped up to the MIC business, you know what I mean? I mean, what's the feedback been like?
Bruv, I had some fight initially, you know. Man said, yo, your voice ain't this, son. Yo, Pure Vibes, you can't do this, man. Yo, Inchy, I don't think this is you.
Yeah.
Now, next minute now, it's gone from that now to, yo, all right, Inchy's all right, you know. All right, oh, there's not enough this, there's not enough that. So there's always going to be fights, and this is where perseverance comes into it. It's like, despite what everybody else is saying, you at some point you have to have a tunnel vision and say, here, what I'm going for that, and that's what we're going for. And now it's more like, right, you know what, I was impressed. Like, you've gone from not being a mic man within a year, just over a year, to being somebody that is comfortable on the microphone than you was then.
What pointers would you say, you know, like, look, you know, when you look back, you know, everybody's supposed to say, oh, boom, I'm going to pre back and see what I'm going on and see if I can improve on something, you know what I mean, and take certain pointers and say, all right, then I can do that better. I mean, what have you looked back and seen and said, you know what, I can sharpen up on this point, that point, or whatever?
I think, if I'm honest, me and Davda have regular meetings to have like feedback sessions. So like after every set, how did that go? And then we have like, when we link up at studio time, like I would say to him, like, what more do you think I should be doing? Or it's always kind of a feedback and review session, because the only way we're going to improve is he's got to be happy with my output and I've got to be happy with his output. So if like if he's shelling on the decks and I'm not stepping up quick enough, then I know I've got to put more work in. So
we can't be nice to each other. It's about that progression, really.
As well.
But I'm being real. Like, if he says to me like, you're not doing enough, then all right, cool. I need to know that I'm not taking it to heart, because I'd rather honest people around me and say, yo, like, you need to put in more work on that. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, man.
And since then, like, the consistency's been good.
That's
like,
good.
he knows how I work. I know how his works. So it gets to a point where he's telepathic now.
Makes sense. So Davda, 21 years old. 21 years old. Enough for the time. You know what it is? You know, I'm impressed that your age and what you're interested in, which is sound clash. You understand me? Because most time enough time them people them say, yo, to you them not like sound clash again. Grime and drill them like and te. You understand? So when I realized that you was 21, I said, what? So all them said to you them not like sound clash again. You know what I mean? So I mean, where did it start for you? How did you get into music?
It was, I think, music in general, it was just my home, really, because my dad would have enough tapes from the 80s of like Darcy, Saxon, Volcano, anyone like Coxon, anyone.
Yeah.
So then I'm listening to that in his whatever car or on the stereo all my life.
Yeah.
So from then, and then my mum was more soul and R&B. So I got both. I just got it. Like,
you got a balance. You got a nice balance there. Yeah.
So then that's why I love music, man. And like when I went to college, I done music, and then uni I done music, and I'm doing music now.
See.
So I was always gonna do music.
Okay. So how did you get the link up with the big man Inchy?
You know, he messaged me on Twitter, you know, in 2017.
Wow.
He messaged me on Twitter. I
no long money about Twitter.
Jeez. I didn't know, like, I wasn't really. It's weird, man. I wasn't too involved in like reggae and dancehall because I was on a radio station, Westside, and then it was just a community station, so I was playing hip hop, R&B, all the regular stuff. But then I wasn't really too. But like, there was always reggae and dancehall in me, but it weren't coming out. And then he messaged me saying, "Yo, you wanna come to roll with me for a bit and see what's happening, and then potentially join the sound." And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, right, man, like, this is what I love. I love reggae.
So where was the first place you went with Inchy?
It was him and Vendetta playing. Where was it, man? It was cold. It was winter 2017. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I think it was whose dance was it? Was it Volcano's dance?
Maybe.
I think so. It was Volcano's dance. I just turned 18 as well, so I was like, yes. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to the dance. I see Swag going like, yeah. So I'm just going to the dance. I'm all excited, but them times I still wasn't thinking about Sound Clash as well.
Yeah.
That Sound Clash wasn't really in my mind at all until I started doing it. So I started cutting and I was like, raw, like, this is sick. Like, I love hearing like lyrics and how they're constructed and how if he says this, if a dub plate's cut wrong, it could ruin your sound. And, I love it.
So what was the inspiration of that for you, DJ wise? You know, who were some of the DJs then that you was kind of preeing and kind of watching and observing, you know, whilst you was growing, like, you know, the 17, 18 kind of region there?
I don't know, you know, I don't even know. I think it was just the DJs that I was seeing that were doing bits in my area. So like Northwest, you see, you got like Swive was West and like Invasion and even Pure Vibes. I was hearing them on the SoundCloud. Yeah. And that's what it was. It was SoundCloud that bust me to like this kind of music.
Okay.
Because I knew about the 90s because of my dad. Like in the 80s, but I didn't know about 2000s dancehall.
You weren't really keeping up to that.
I went up to it at all. But I went Napa. I DJed Napa in 2017.
Okay.
And then I was still on like an R&B kind of tip because I didn't know that. Yeah. And then when I came, I started like recollecting my music then. And then when I started doing that, it was like raw. Like I've missed the whole of music in the reggae and dancehall and soca and all of that. I've missed it. So then I just started researching because I was loving it. I was like, yeah, this is it, man.
So really, that dance that you went to Inchy, that with Inchy, the first that kind of gave you back that. Yeah. Wow, well, this is what's going on with the latest dancehall, and you know, this is the vibe kind of like thing.
Yeah. Before that, so I was researching the music and I was loving it. Like the summer of 2017 and the end of 2017. So when we went to the kind of knowledgeable, but like I didn't know nothing still. But when I felt raw, like the bass is thumping and I was loving it.
So dub plates. When you first introduced to dub plates, you know, what was your thoughts on plates?
I knew about dub plates from time, but it wasn't. I was
really preem,
Yeah, I didn't really care. Yeah. But then I started caring because I liked it. Yeah. I just thought this is sick, like this whole like other world of music, because it's a different thing in it to like juggling really. So I was like, this is sick. Yeah.
So you thought like, boy, you know what? This is a different side to playing the, you know, the regular songs, the regular dance, the regular reggae songs. You're gonna be playing stuff with your personalised name in it. Dafta. Yeah. Dafta's name's in dubs now, so it's a different ball game. Is it me? Yeah. And I get to realise that you are even behind like mixing these dubs and that. I didn't even know that you was like, you know, doing the engineering stuff. How long you been in doing the engineering thing?
I did music technology in high school, and it was between that and I was gonna do musical art because I wanted to do in the office. I can't do that. Yeah. So I thought musical art. I chose music because I just knew music is the one. But like, I just liked it and all that. But I did music technology in college as well. I did electronic music in uni. So then I just knew about it and how to do stuff. And then when we started cutting and I was involved, I was like, I know how to like split. I know how to do all of this, so I'll just do it. Yeah.
Well, that's you know what it is though. That's a very good role to play. You know what I mean? That cuts out studio time. And just paying an engineer to do that. You know, when you got that stuff kind of like in-house, I mean, there's nothing more better when you can mix your dub them in your own time, in your own space. Sure. You know what I mean? That is a very, very plus. That's a big plus for you, Inchy.
You know what it is as well? You have to see it as like everybody has their role in the sound. Yeah. So like Davda deals with that side, and then I will deal with the marketing, kind of branding, the business side of it. So he brings his element, I bring my element, and that allows me to just relax. I don't have to worry about that stuff. I just focus on making sure the dubs are cut, and then Davda will deal with how it sounds sometimes. And we'll sit down and we agree how it sounds. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes everybody has their role and there's space for everybody. I don't want people
communication is the key.
100%.
You know what I mean? And being in sync is very important.
Yeah, because if you're not on in sync offset, when you go on set, it's going to be apparent that you're not in sync. So you have to be in sync offset and on set. Yeah. Because if me and him are falling out offset, when we come to deliver a set, it's not going to be the same. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's important that we have that chemistry on and offset.
So what was the first dance that you lot actually played together?
You'd more likely remember than me.
I don't even know. Oh, right.
Because you know you had the first one where you went to with Inchy, but
the first few
I'm trying to get the first dance that you lot played together and shell the party.
I have no idea.
Wow.
I have no idea.
You don't remember the Nina Inchy?
I'm trying to think right now still. There's a couple last year where I actually allowed Davda to DJ more, like, and I just took a back seat and watched him shoot. And say, yo, Davda, like, you need to step, like, I kind of threw him in the deep end and said, yo, you need to step up because at some point I ain't gonna be there to help you.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
So tell me something then. Can you remember any outstanding performances where say, yo boy, we shell this dance?
Yeah. There's a few that we've done. Like
Yeah, man,
just
give us a
before
few.
the show before lockdown, we did Vendetta's birthday in January. Mash up the place down there. Like that was good. You know what I mean? And that was one of the first where man actually said, yo, like. As a mic man, Inchy starting to come into
Yeah,
the
go
spot.
on.
Yeah, but not only that, he was shooting as well.
Yeah.
So people.
Yeah, well,
started to
obviously,
say-
if you're shooting it, that gives you double confidence to lock the place.
100%. But you know what it is as well? Like,
Yeah.
we've both been fighting against people first saying, getting used to me on the mic
Yeah.
is one thing.
Yeah.
And then Davda stepping up and saying, yo, it's his time now.
Yeah.
Cause everybody, certain time people say, I want to book Pure Vibes, I want to book you DJ. I said, no, what? That's not going to work for the brand, Like, this is us now. So if you don't book Davda shooting and me on the mic, it not gonna work because our chemistry and how we output our sound is in a certain way. So if a man comes and integrates into that now for a one-off, it's not gonna sound the Pure Vibes way. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a thing now where it's strictly Inchy and Davda.
Yeah.
Like if you're not booking the two of us, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
Give me some of the key points of being a successful sound.
Communication is definitely the key. Chemistry, I think, on and off the set is also important. Like we talk a lot. Like he's a busy guy, but we still talk a lot.
Davda, some of the key points of being a successful sound.
It's that, it's just keep it real. Like, if you're not keeping it real, you're not keeping it. That's all, you know what I mean?
100%.
So, that's it. Just like, be honest. Just being honest in whatever it is. Like, say I'm not feeling to come play out. Like, I've never not felt that, but I always want to play out. But say I'm not feeling that, if I didn't say to Inchy that means there's that means one of us has got a lack of knowledge when we go out. And that's not good, like, that will show. So, yeah, just keep it real still.
I think channels of communication, as he said, it has to be open all the time. Like sometimes he will say, I don't think it's gonna work. And I'll be like, maybe not. Or other times I'll be like, just go down this route, Davda, trust me. Like, because obviously, because Davda's a bit younger, there's certain experiences that I have that he isn't exposed to yet. And that's no fault of himself, but it's because of his age. So if I say to Davda, go down that route, and then 10 minutes later, he'd be like, yeah, I see what you mean.
Because like, sometimes we'll go to a set and we never know what we're gonna play one time, and then like I'll think one thing, he'll think another thing, and that's gonna happen. But then I know that like he's 10 years deeper than me. Like he's a good 10 years deeper than me, so I know that I have to trust his judgment when it comes to
Definitely,
it.
and I respect that.
Yeah.
I rate that as a younger. I rate that because sometimes you find that the younger generation feel like because they're doing it and they're in the groove, it has to be right. So it's always good to you can be right more time as well, but it's good to always.
I keep my
Take
my
the
ears
knowledge.
have to be open and my mind has to be
So
open.
I respect you for that. I rate you for
But
that.
equally, I also put it back on him and say, what do you think we should go with?
Of course, because you have to let the young ideas flow with your mind, so
100%.
and combine it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So which makes a great team.
Yeah, but he has to also learn because the same way I had to learn and make mistakes, I try to give him enough room for him to learn as well. Because if he doesn't, sometimes I might not be there for whatever reason, but then I need to be confident that Davda says, "Yo, I know what to do," and that comes with allowing him sometimes to say that might work or that might not work. Do you see what I'm saying? So that communication channel needs to be always open.
Yeah.
Always open. You see what I'm saying? So that's definitely important in terms of what we're doing.
So Inchy, what's the future plans for Pure Vibes?
Like we're not going to stop juggling. Like juggling is the bread and butter. But I feel like we want to clash as well. Personally, I don't think there's a sound in the UK is doing juggling and clashing well. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple people that say they can do it, but I don't see it enough of it. Like
It's either they're juggling or they're clashing. You haven't seen like a predominant sound that you see clashing regularly and you see them juggling
exactly. And I feel like that's where a gap is in the UK.
And you feel Pure Vibes could fill that gap.
100%, and step into that gap because I think it's a lane that no one stepped into. So I think we can step into that lane and say, "Here, this is the Pure Vibes lane. If you want to hear hardcore juggling, we could do that. If you want to hear normal juggling, we could do that. If you want to hear war, we can do that." Because when you think of a bad sound, you think Bass Odyssey, Dacre, war and juggle, King Addies, war and juggle, Mighty Crown, war and juggle. Why can't Pure Vibes be that? For the UK anyway, initially.
yeah.
'Cause the thing is, I realised that people ain't really putting respect on the UK's name. And there's a lot of bad sounds in the UK. But the problem I find is that they're doing either one or the other.
Yeah, I hear that.
And if you're trying to be marketable for the world, you have to be able to do both. Because if a man flies you out to Japan, certain time it could be just a juggling they want you to do, not a hardcore thing. Or you go Europe, it might be a juggling, not just a hardcore thing. But people respect you if you can do both. I think personally.
100%. I'll have to agree with you on that.
So I think that's the gap or the lane that we're trying to walk in. So once a year at the minimum, we'll take a clash definitely.
What's your take on the juggling scene? I'm gonna ask you about the two scenes, but I'm gonna pick the juggling first. What's your take on the juggling scene?
I think at the moment the juggling scene is saturated a lot.
Why do you say that?
I feel like everybody's doing the same thing to a certain extent, and then when you try to be a bit different, it's like you're forced out or you're pushed out. So if we were to come in there with a bit more hardcore, then I feel like people push us out because they'll be saying, right, Pure Vibes always want to clash. And it's not that we want to clash, but competition is good for the business. So I think sometimes when you're coming against a sound that is forcing you to step up, you then have to find a different
So
gear.
what are the things then do you think that they would say you're coming on too much of a hardcore thing? Like, would it
playing
be
too many dubs maybe.
Oh, okay, that
So
yeah,
I might say, oh, you're playing too many dubs, but at the end of the day, if you're spending money on songs, why not play them? Your identity now becomes the sound that plays dubs. There's nothing wrong with that.
Or perhaps you could play dubs that fit into the scene.
100% as well, and we've got both. So it's a thing whereby if it's a juggling dance, we'll play juggling dubs. If it's a war dance, we'll play war dubs. And sometimes some of your juggling dubs can cross over to war dubs, as you know. So it's just making sure that you don't, like, we don't want to be put in a box.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Sometimes I find that promoters will say, oh man, I don't want to put them because they're too hardcore. It's not that. We adapt to the environment that
So
we're in.
your approach to a juggling scene right now is what?
Our approach is we deliver what we need to deliver. Do you know what I mean? If a man said come and juggle and play tunes, we'll do that. We'll play our dubs and we'll entertain the crowd. If it's a war, then we're ready either way. So it's being adaptable, and the most adaptable survive. You have to move with the times.
100%.
You can't say, boy, I'm staying here and this is my lane. No, people don't want that. Even the wars nowadays, if you notice, more juggling's going on than actually speech sometimes. When the songs are being fired, they're being fired, and the songs speak for themselves certain times. So it's finding that balance.
How important do you think it is to have that juggling element?
100%, because you're entertaining like a crowd. Like, as much as people say that live, it's still a crowd. People are tuning in to hear a vibe. So if you're not delivering some sort of energy to those people, they're gonna tune off. Yeah, or tune up, sorry. So it's important that when you're delivering your package, it's a vibe. Whether it's juggling or war, even the rhythms you voice on, they have to be a vibe. So you see that me and Davda are bouncing to the rhythm. Because that means if we feel the rhythm, somebody on the live is actually going to feel the rhythm as well.
So it's about understanding the two scenes, innit? Because obviously
100%.
rhythms that will play in a juggling scene may not play in a clash scene, or vice versa. So it's about having that balance, learning where to fit in, how to fit in the atmosphere that you're in.
100%.
So even when we get like a war dub, you can take the acapella and put it on like a club instrumental that you can play in just a normal juggling dance, and then it will work. Like sometimes it can work. Like you can put it on like a J House friendly or something, and then because the vibe is correct of the song.
Is that some of the stuff that you do?
Yeah. So like I'll try. Like, to say we get a split file, I'll try to just take the acapella and put on as many things as
to see what it fits.
see what I can do with it, because there's no limits to a dub. Like the dub can do bare things.
Once you've paid the money, it's yours, isn't it?
It's yours, yeah. You can
So
play
if you
that.
want to put it on an R&B rhythm that's got a vibe, and put it in a juggling dance and add a little twang or something different, then why not do that? And that's what we've been doing. Like, there's a couple of jugglings that have our dub plates on, and we play them in R&B dances, and you're getting more forward certain time than the 45 that we have.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's getting flexible and being adaptable to the crowd that you're playing to.
What's your take on the clash scene?
Ah, man.
The war scene.
The one I see. But hey, it's interesting still. Like, we've dipped our toe in it, and it's interesting because we've realised that the difference between us and maybe some of the hardcore war sounds is that we've got the juggling element to it. So when you're clashing, I feel that there has to be the vibe to your sound, because sometimes the vibe just carries you alone, carries you through alone. And if people are taking off your energy, then they're gonna vote for you generally if they understand songs. But also, we realised that the clash scene is getting younger. So certain songs that I've grown on and Dav has been introduced and grown on, they're not gonna always work for the newer day younger clash fans. They want to hear Massacre, they want to hear Adonia, they want to hear New Movado, New Cartel. And certain time people need to understand that those dubs cost money. Like US artists,
100%.
1,000 US for Adonia, for example.
Yeah.
Like that's £850. So when you're spending that amount of money on a dub, certain time, and you play it, people need to understand that it's money you're being spent. So you're playing it regardless.
What would you
Certain
say to
time.
the hardcore fans that, because earlier on you said that, you feel like you might have the edge because you got the juggling element. I mean, sometimes the hardcore people them will say, saying too jiggy. But then too jiggy, he doesn't have the killing instinct. What would you say to the hardcore fans that feel like you need to have a bit more wrath, a bit more oomph?
My thing is that you have to understand the times are changing. If you want a younger generation of Clash fans and the culture to be continued, you have to add that element of juggling into your deliverance of your sets. So if you look at somebody like Kigadis or Soul Supreme, if you notice, they juggle a lot now because you have to adapt with the times. So this whole stop and starting thing, and it doesn't really work because people stand up in a dance and get bored. So you have to give people some sort of vibe for them to move as if they were
Continuation,
as if they were in a dance as opposed to a clash.
Yeah.
And
So
this, well, I feel like this has already happened as well. Like this happens every few years, I reckon, because like Clash before used to be like barring on the mic, innit, on rhythms, but then it changed to dub plates more, so like more dub plates, and then it's gonna keep moving in whatever direction it moves. So you gotta just carry on with it.
Yeah, and adapt. Yeah, I agree. So I think that as much as people call it jiggy, I think that is the new age of sound clash now. People want to hear you shooting songs, and there's a vibe to your juggling. The whole stop start, and even the rhythms your voice on. Sometimes, as a sound, the right rhythm means that you don't have to speak.
I personally feel like you need to have a juggling element
100%.
to your clash juggling. You know what I mean? Because I think the juggling thing is a thing it keeps more, because week to week juggling.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it gets you in the groove.
Yep.
Your interaction skills are
Yep.
sharpened.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So all it is converting into the war field.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think that juggling element to your sound is very important.
Definitely.
Because remember, they had the likes of Bass Alisi, Mark, the wicked juggler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been in dances where he shelled that with 45s.
100%.
And then I've been in dances where the man just playing steely,
Yeah.
locking the place. But it's because he's understanding the balance,
Yeah.
what you need to have
Yeah.
as a selector and an MC.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? The package that
Yeah.
you need to have to do the juggling and the clash.
Yeah. And you have to be careful as well, because you have to switch personalities, I would call it.
There you
Because
go.
when you're juggling dance, people don't always want to hear the hardcore.
Right, you got the dancers, you got the dancers in there that
100%.
want to
you
hear the
can't-
juggling.
You can't be on this bad man thing all the time.
No.
So when you're on the war dance, you have to be on the bad man thing.
Right.
But there's sometimes danzels in there, so you have to cater for the ladies.
So it boils down to entertainment,
100%.
all around
Yeah.
entertainment. You know
So
what I mean?
as a package, you have to be focused on how you're gonna output that package.
But like I was talking about sound clash, I mean, what a report. You had a recent square off. You know what I mean? I think that was your first clash, right? Your
Proper
first proper clash.
Yeah.
With fully equipped. Sorry.
Yeah.
What a clash.
Yeah.
I mean, big up you and fully equipped for a very entertaining clash. Because I was sitting down there, I know me have been in the thing for a while now, listening to sound clash and thing, and you know what I mean? And for two sounds where is on the younger side, you know what I mean? I have to say that was very entertaining. It was, the two sounds came planned, you know what I mean? And prepared for it, you know what I mean? So that was a mad clash, watching it. I mean, how was it for you being there? No shimmings,
Okay.
Talk your mind, how was the clash for you?
There was a lot of things that happened before the clash.
Like what?
Like, there was already... So, for me personally, I felt we were already against the odds. So, even before the clash, the hosts were from South London. The clash was in South London. We're clashing at South London sound. So already we were at -1 in my opinion.
Yeah, but you knew that beforehand, so
100%.
you was okay with that.
So I was fine. So we knew what we're doing. At the end of the day, it was about us putting out a performance and getting respect and recognition for actually just stepping up. Guys, you know, a lot of people talk about it, and we was actually being and doing that. You get me? Being in the arena. So after we got there now, we were told that we were on a limited amount of numbers. As the night progressed...
When you say limited amount of numbers of who you could bring there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as the night progressed, South London, as it being, they outweighed us, so they had enough people in the actual venue, which was again broken the rule that we agreed to. Secondly, like when we got to me, Zeki, and Cash spoke and sat down and said, "Hey, what? There's no sucking mother talk." That was then broken in the their first round. So I said to Cash, "Well, go on." So at that point, we had a decision where, you know what, we either stay here and deliver a poor performance for the crowd, or we walk out. So we took the option of staying there and delivering. So when he said that to us, I had an option: either say it back, or with experience, I could have dealt with that different. So in hindsight, I know how to deal with those conversations when it's brought to us again. But initially, the ego come to me and was clarting back with it.
Yeah.
And then we started beating them with songs as well. So there's a lot of experience and learning from that. But the main thing is, I feel like as a sound, we represented well the caliber of songs that we played.
Definitely.
We didn't play too many regulars. Don't get me wrong, there's a balance, but I think we tried to present creativity in the sense of the way we cut, the way our songs are voiced, how they sound. I think our performance and our delivery of that outshone anybody on that night. But you know how it goes. And them type of clashes, somebody has to win, someone has to lose. But from that feedback that we've received, like people believe that we've won, and the comments have said that as well. So I know that me and Dav just sat down. We don't see it as a loss.
So did you feel under pressure that you was overweighted with the amount of people that they had in the place? Because you said they had more people than what you could bring, or what you bring. So how did you feel? Did you feel a bit under pressure that they had more people busting blank for them or whatever in the place, or what?
No, I didn't feel like that at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we at that point we had geared up for delivering our package, Pure Vibes package, and I felt like that outweighed the fact that he could have had 100 people in there. But it's just that my what did sit well with me was that we agreed something, and at the point of the clash, it changed. That was my thinking, and that wasn't really a good. We didn't leave there with a good taste. What's the word saying?
Left with a bad taste.
Yeah, left with a bad taste, because it kind of went against what we agreed to try and deliver. So big up Fully Equipped, obviously, and big up Dub for Dub in that. But at the end of the day, I have to be honest, and I can't shim like. These are the facts of these are things we agreed to, and these things were broken as a part of it. But it is what it is. We move.
I mean, the preparation beforehand. I mean, David, I'm going to ask you first. I mean, what was your mindset like? You know, preparing to go into your first sound clash.
There's two things, like making sure we're ready, like we perform to our maximum capability, and then just enjoy it really. Because if we're not enjoying it, there's no point.
Yeah, definitely.
The's no point.
It's a sport at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So you have to enjoy
that's
the
why
sport.
that's why when it was like when the rules are broken or whatever, like we're not gonna leave, man, because we come to enjoy it. You get me? So yeah, that was it, man. It didn't feel like too much pressure. I thought it would, but it didn't. It just felt like because we do do music, and that's what it is. It's just music. And it's,
Inchi, what was the preparation like for you?
Well, we spent hours still. We did a lot of remasters. Like every week was remastering dubs. So now like the dubs are ready. Like we remastered nearly the whole box, a lot of the box actually, to be fair. And now we know that if we were to take a clash next month, most of the dubs are ready, if that makes sense. Like to build a crate for the clash or a juggling. So, you know what I mean? You said to go War Pod next month. we're ready.
You're prepared.
We're prepared because we spent the time back then to remaster a lot of the dubs. So anything going forward now is just remastering whatever's new and sitting down and agreeing, okay, this is what we're going to play, maybe a different side of the box or something, whatever. So in that sense, I think that is. And also, like, I think we had a couple of sessions before the clash where like Davda this, we set the cue points. Davda knows what he needs to do in terms of shooting. When I say level, he knows when to level. When it's a shooting time, he can scratch, he can do that, and he's shooting. So all of that chemistry, we just had to do it once, and it was gonna free flow, and we know that because we juggle. So it was the same kind of delivery we're putting out in a clash.
What was the feedback like after the clash?
A lot of people thought we won. A lot of people said it was bias, obviously.
Do you think it was biased?
As I said, I mentioned a lot of factors that that influenced it. But at the end of the day, as I said, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. In the sense of somebody has to walk away with the trophy. If you say did we lose, I don't think so, because the feedback we've received, both Davda and I, says that we've won, and even the feedback from the people them said that we've won. So, like, yes, at the end of the day, we know it's a sport and somebody has to leave with the trophy. We get that, but at the end of the day, the performances and the opportunities that have come from that clash, like we could say we've won easily. We've networked and people reach out to us to do certain
So in other
things.
words, you've gotten, like, you know, people finding more interest in the sound.
100%. Even more so, like, especially in South London, like, there's a perception that there's nobody else but the South London sounds, and I think that platform put us into a certain.
Why do you think people say that?
I just think they're just used to the used to. So if every dance you go to, you get the same set of sounds being played, you're only going to be used to those.
But there's some good representatives from Northwest.
Yeah, there's only a handful though. But now I feel like we're starting to get the recognition that both us have been working on for a long period of time now. Especially me, obviously a bit longer than Davda, but trying to get that recognition where in the UK we're known. You know what I mean?
So I actually not actually outright winning the clash, but you've won in the sense of, you know, the exposure.
100%.
You know, people showing interest.
Yeah, and respect. Like, if anything, the reason why we do a lot of this is because of respect and recognition, and we've got that, like, in abundance now. It's just to build on that. Do you see what I'm saying? We can't sit on our laurels now. It's working forward and looking at what's next.
How do you find the dub cutting, like, you know, dealing with artists and stuff like that? What kind of experiences
That's the next thing. So,
are
like,
you facing out, you know, been through?
Yeah, so when we cut, like Reese, I could say in the earlier days, I went through a couple of friends and got a couple of splices. But I'm the type of person that I've cut those songs back because
You need to.
Yeah, that too as well. And secondly, my sound is, our sound, sorry, the way we branded ourselves is of high quality in the sense of
play authentic stuff. Yeah.
100%. So for us to go and play splices goes against what we're trying to perceive and
Definitely.
the perception. So, like, I've cut a Beanie Man, Hypocrite, it was splice. I cut that the real thing, you can hear the difference. So the songs that I've cut, I've had to delete them and get rid of them and buy back the new ones.
Which is a part of the
And
experience.
a part of the experience. And now, like, if anybody knows the certified dub links are your Danger Mentals, your Friends for Real, like, them are 100% certified dub agents. So you know you get your videos with your dubs, you know it's not splice. You know what I mean? I'd rather pay a bit more knowing the dub's real than play a bit less.
And it's not, and it's fake.
Yeah. So for example, there was comments about Barrington Levy on the clash, whereas if you know Barrington Levy, he's had 2 strokes. So his voice is never gonna be the high pitched voice.
When I saw the splice argument, I know that you're a man that goes out your way to get authentic dubs.
100%.
But as what you just said, you know, the stroke situation, he's not, you know, slurring or as powerful as he was before.
100%.
You know
But then for a common Joe, they might not understand the whole dub cutting culture. I know that when you go to a dub agent like Danger Mental, for example, like, he based his thing on 100% real. So you know when you spend your money with
But you have to be in it to know it anyway.
100%.
Because some people will talk and they're not really in it. They just air a thing or just see a comment and say, yeah, splice.
100%.
Because it might not, you know what I mean, sound as powerful as what Barrington originally did.
100%.
Is that, as you said, he's had 2 strokes.
100%. And the next thing is as well, is sometimes people will say that because they don't have the dub. Or they want the dub. Or they're surprised that you're actually playing that caliber of song. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just understanding that comes with the business. People are always gonna disregard what you do or try downplay what you do. But you know, when your thing's real and you use the right links, then you got nothing to prove.
What are some of the things then that you learned from the clash with Fully Equipped?
The regulars work. The regulars work, you get me? Like the regular dubs work, unfortunately, and
But I think that's more down to
the crowd that you
the
play
atmosphere.
to. Yeah, 100%.
Because you gotta have, you know, different dubs for different atmospheres,
100%.
different people. You understand?
Definitely.
So if you know you're in a crowd, in front of a crowd that will perhaps accept the more regular dubs, then you know you feature them. Then you're gonna get that crowd that's just say, yo, Chuck, regular dub. I don't want to hear that. But hear that every week. You understand?
Yeah, because they're two juggling sounds as well.
Yeah.
Like mostly, the crowd on the live was mostly a juggling crowd.
Definitely.
So they're gonna love the regular dubs.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's why in that scenario, it definitely worked.
Yeah, definitely. But also for people that don't know, like the regular dubs is what you would hear every sound clash.
Yeah.
Like you're guaranteed it, guaranteed. So
Yeah.
when we say regular dubs,
We were talking about can't take the blum blum rat-a-tat-tat, blum blum.
Yeah.
I'm gonna perform on this.
Yeah, so they're the regular dubs because every sound clash you're gonna hear them songs there.
Yeah.
So, but also as a sound, sometimes you have to be brave and say, "Here, what? Like I'm gonna play something different." You know the song, but you just don't hear it in dub plate style. Like when we play the Winston Reedy, Lovers Rock, Dim the Light.
Yeah.
Not many sounds can say they have that in dub.
Yeah.
But to play that and be brave with it,
Yeah.
knowing that, you know what, sometimes you get more respect for stepping out the box.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, let me play something different, a different shot.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing the same one. Now we played what's the other one we played? So big up Brando, you know, 'cause he gave me the idea. So Brando's cut Peter Honeygill and dub. So I said, Brando's got that one there. Let me get creative and cut something different. So I cut the Peter Honeygill and Don Campbell in combination. And now
It's a bad dub still.
everybody's asking for that dub now. Every time we go on a dub platform, people want to hear that particular dub. So that's how you build anthems, is being creative and say, here, what, let me put 2 UK artists, one from South, one from Northwest, and make that kind of one of the anthems.
Yeah.
So now everybody wants it. Everybody wants it.
That combo did sound bad.
And not everybody's thinking outside the box. So how do you make your sound different? Is sometimes putting 2 artists that people think, right, they can't go together, but 2 bad singers. Bad singers in the UK.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So them type of things there, like, work. So most of the dub cutting, like, I do, but I obviously consult dub with most of them.
So looking back at the clash, would you do anything different?
You could always go back and say, I won't disclose that, but you could always not let nobody know what we're doing different. But obviously a couple of things, I think, like...
Respectively, yeah.
Yeah, respectively, there's a
Remember,
couple
you're
of things.
growing.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
growing.
yeah,
There's
you're
obviously a couple of things we look back and think, like, we would do much different, like, 100%. I don't want to disclose them because...
Yes, you're not being specific.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things we do different. There's always some things you would do different, innit?
I noticed that you surfaced the dub platforms a lot, because enough of the time when I log in, I see you on a 45 Shop Lock, I see you on a War Report standardly for years,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? See you on a Dub for Dub, see you on a Polyphamous is live, various lives. Is that part of your learning?
100%, man. 'Cause I feel like you have to learn, especially me as somebody that's transitioning from a selector or DJ into a selector, as they call it. Like I'm having to go through a lot of growth as much as Davda. So Davda's learning the box. He's learning genres and ages and different years of music. So I'm having to learn like from some of the established hosts. I think, right, like the way they're witty, I like that. I need to pinch that maybe and put it in my twang, because there's different mentors, as we were saying earlier. Like there's different mentors I have to tap into and say, right, you know what, he's got something I like. Let me see how I can embrace that and make it work for my team. And it's the same with probably Davda. Like I don't know what you think about that as well as a DJ. Like if you think there's certain things that you pick up.
You got to listen, or I just listen to everything, and then kind of just filters in and out, and so like you pick up what you pick up, and then you got to make your own. You can't just teeth it. You can't just teeth it, man.
Yeah, you have to kind of put a twist to it to kind of because it's going to be a bit obvious. If I'm under start ball out legal business, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you have to kind of put a twist to it.
Yeah.
You understand me? So you're kind of preying to kind of, be different, but
100%.
creative at the same time. You know what I mean? What's your take on the overall scene of Sound Clash right now?
I hope that what we did in November would encourage other sounds or young sounds to step up and say, "Hey, what? Let's clash." I feel like at the time,
I think it should encourage the whole of UK.
that
Because
too
to
as
be
well.
honest, a lot of the foundation sounds aren't really clashing anyway.
I think there's a lot of shimmings, and for me, the way we see it as is football, innit? Like Liverpool at the top of the league recently, but then Man City was there last week. It doesn't mean that Man City and Liverpool are better than each other. It just means at that point in time they took the win. But they play again, they buck again. You could win on that day. I saw it go. We see it as a sport, whereas I think certain men take it too personal, and I think that's what the problem is. That's what's blocking a lot of sounds clashing other sounds, and everybody's talking about.
I don't think no one wants to lose.
That's the next thing. I think that's the biggest part. No one wants to lose, but sometimes, as you can see from what happened in November, we've gained so much more from it than sometimes winning. Because the only thing you're going home is with the trophy, but what did you learn from it? And sometimes it's better to take the L now, so then when you go onto bigger platforms, you know to navigate.
True, 100%.
Because the worst thing is, if you go too high and you take a loss, then it's hard to get back up there again. You know what I mean? So certain mistakes that I felt, well, I would say mistakes, certain lessons that we learned won't happen again.
I think that in music in general, like even making a tune, like if you start and you make the biggest tune in the world, like most times you can only go down, innit? If you start from the bottom and then get better and go there and like work your way up, you're gonna be a powerhouse in what you do.
100%. So
Who are some of the impressive sounds for you right now?
UK or abroad?
UK.
Ecstasy. Big up my mentions there, Marky G, Prince, Silo. Who else? Who else we leave up? Your RDK.
So what is it about Ecstasy that you rate?
I mean,
I rate the combinations, but
yeah, the combinations are bad. Still. The combinations are bad. And you know what it is as well? And Marlon Bashford, big up Marlon Bashford, even yourself, Brando. Like since we stepped into this kind of Lady V as well, Marvin Empire. As soon as we stepped into this kind of lane as well, I felt like there's been established sounds pushing us and say, "Yo, you lot, the next generation." Go. And no, we haven't experienced anything bad mind per se. I know there can be a lot of that in the business, but they've always said, you know what, we see potential in you, like keep going, and they're pushing us, and that's good to see that some of the olders and established sounds are saying, yo, you man can coffee it, man, because you know what I mean, you lot are trying to get out there, and we can see that you're trying, that you're heavily invested in it. So like that encouragement is like, that's just priceless right now.
So is there any sound in particular right now that you want to clash?
Boy,
Big question, that, you know?
To be fair, we haven't really thought about it in that sense. Obviously, we got to deal with a rematch at some point. But I don't know. I think we have to sit down and see what makes sense as well. That's the next thing, because we're juggling.
Still growing.
Yeah, we're still growing, but it has to make sense for us. There's no point us going and taking on a bit more of established sound, I would say, when we're just new to this. So we still have to go and learn, take some clashes as well, but it have to make sense for us. I'm not saying that we won't take a clash, you know. We're not on the shipping team, but it has to make sense.
You can't just do something just for the sake of doing it. It has to make sense.
100%.
So that you get there, even if you don't win,
you get the exposure.
But it's got to make sense.
100%.
The back of the whole matchup, everything has to be in sync. So
definitely.
I get that still.
Yeah, definitely. So
I definitely get that. And you know what it is? You see, during the early part, we're just vibing so much.
Yeah.
You understand? One of the most important things I wanted to get out. So this is a bit unorthodox, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think different anyway.
Yeah.
You understand? I wanted to know how that name come about. Pure Vibes. Which that should have been in the early part. But you don't know. There's always a twist to the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alright. So how did that name Pure Vibes come about?
It's just for the love. The music's coming from the heart, and it's a love for the music, and the vibes are just pure, as we just say. Every time I touch the mic, I say the vibes are pure. That means that when we're doing our thing, it's coming from a clean place, not bad mind. We don't do our thing. If we don't have it, we don't have it. You know what I mean? If somebody needs support, we encourage them. You know what I mean? Me and you could clash today, but next minute I'm on the phone to you and I'm trying to give you support and encouragement. Like, we don't come from a place where we bad mind and have that kind of hate in our heart. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's where Pure Vibes has come from, that kind of thing. And then the entertainment is just about the entertainment, but the Pure Vibes is about how our heart stays. Like, I couldn't work with Davda if his heart wasn't clean.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Love that.
You see what I'm saying? Because then that will go against what the sound's trying to put out. You see where I'm coming from? So
love that.
I think, like, as you know, like we've linked up, we've been doing this for the last 15 years or so. So
Yeah.
you know, every time I see Brando, I say, "Yo, boom, well done, Brando, boom, boom, boom." So it's never been coming from a place of hate. Like hate,
100%.
love always is
Definitely.
what Pure Vibes is about. You get me?
Map, one last question for you.
Yeah, man.
What's the most you're prepared to pay for a dub?
Oh, Clark. you know what? Yeah, it's got magic that because I can't lie. When I started cutting, I set myself a limit of like 250, 300.
Yeah.
And
You got way
past that. Way past that. You know what I mean? And even the offer that I got for a certain artist the other day, I won't disclose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually trying to break my back to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, you know what's it? Like, I initially was against it,
Yeah.
but, like, if I want that for our sound, then I want it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to disclose the artist, but I will
What about
say...
the price? Can you
The price that goes with the artist, and that would be the highest. If I go for that, that would be the highest we've ever paid.
Okay, which is more than 250.
Yes.
Because remember you set the bar at 250.
Yeah,
You get me?
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So you're prepared for go
Over that.
Over the wall.
Yeah, 100%, man. Certain artists, if you want certain artists in your box, you have to pay the money. Unfortunately, as much as I think it's overpriced, some of the dubs, but if you want them, you'll pay them, and that's what I've like. It's a game, innit?
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately, it's the game. I know certain men have their different lanes, but our lane is if a song that we definitely want. Like I'll say to Duffy, you know what, I'm gonna try go for this. You know? As much as it might bun me for the month for a couple months, I'd rather have that than not have it.
Yeah, man, for real.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the investment, really. Like,
100%.
That's what we're doing. That's what we live for.
Yeah, man, for real.
100%. So
That's what we gotta do.
Yeah, man.
100%.
So bless up to the viewers, them, you know, manners and respect every time, you know. Hopefully you got more of an insight to Pure Vibes, up and coming sound. You know what I mean? Putting in the work. So, you know, it's always good to kind of, you know, get the in-depth vibe of a sound more time when you see them and do them thing and you see them floating around doing things. It's always good to kind of sit down, reasoning, all a vibe, and see what they're up to, see where they're heading, see where they're coming from. You understand me? So that was today's purpose. You know what I mean? So big respect to Pure Vibes. Big up Inchi, Davda. You know, manners and respect every time. I'll let my guests them give out their socials before I give out mine. Promo business, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, man, big up the whole report, big up Brando, Jawil, big up yourselves. You know I go already. Everything Pure Vibes ENT. Make sure you check us out on all the socials. You know I got this will be on YouTube. Big up the young Jenna Davda. You wanna say anything?
I don't speak, man.
You know you don't speak much. You get me? Just shoots. You get me?
Alright, so you don't know, you can check out www.theofficialwarreport.com. Alright, the official website. And you don't know, Instagram, just type in War Report, Facebook, right the way through. You understand me? And look out for Pure Vibes on the War Report 2021.
Boom.
You heard? That's my word.